Welcome back. City of Joburg officials say it's now going to cost around 40 million rand to repair the damage caused by last week's underground fire around the M1. It affected power supply to several neighbourhoods. They still don't have electricity right now, but there's also structural damage to the bridge on the M1 highway. Newzroom Afrika's Zola Sholwana covering the story for us. Zola, good afternoon to you. 40 million rand to repair the damage from this fire. It's a huge amount of money.
Well, certainly, Stephen, when we listened to the report that was provided by the city of Johannesburg, they did mention that so much has been damaged by the fire, referring to the infrastructure, the road infrastructure, including the electricity infrastructure. From City Power, an amount of 23 million rands is estimated to be spent in, electricity infrastructure repairs. Of course, this amount is subject to change as this process will take quite a bit of time. We also understand that by the Johannesburg Road Agency, an amount of 10 million rands is expected to be spent in terms of repairing the infrastructure that has been damaged and also upgrading the roads that have been affected. Let's speak to Charles from the city, City Power rather. Charles, thank you very much for your time. I mean, an estimate of 40 million rands combined with obviously the amount that was mentioned by Johannesburg Road Agency. This is a lot of money, but take us through what will be done in all of this, as we understand that contractors are already on the ground.
Thanks very much, and very good afternoon to the viewers at home. Yes, indeed, it's a very large amount of money. We are currently here having to lay cables. So we had an oil-filled cables that got damaged. We had XLPE 88 kV cables that was also damaged. We had also 11 kV cables that were damaged. We had our own telecoms, communication cables that were also damaged. And for a distance of about 450 meters long from where we are standing towards down there. So it's currently what we are doing. We are going to lay a new XLPE cable that is about 3 circuits. So each circuit, it's about 3 cables big, the ones that are standing right behind me. So one circuit, it will come up with about 3 cables. So we are going to lay about 3 circuits, so it's about 9 of them, of these cables. So it's quite a hefty amount, but it's not only this. So what we are also doing, because we have our cables running through Braamfontein and also to to feed our customers in Park, Town West, the new town, including Braamfontein, that we are trying to look for a relief, because this work here is going to take us around exactly up until the 20th of May, if we estimate. This is how this work is going to be completed. But we don't want to get our customers to stay that longer without electricity, because we don't have any other alternative feed. So we are trying to re-engineer our cables underground the tunnels, and also some they are above ground, but there is a digging that has to happen. And all this exercise is making us to cut, reroute, move cables underground, so that we make also some joints, plenty of joints, locate these cables where some are in terms of our testing machines, all that process, so that we are able to backfeed our customers that are out. And when that happens, it's not going to carry the entire load of customers that are affected, because those will be 11 kV cables. So we estimate that that kind of a process, it will be on a rotational basis. Others may have a supply at a particular time, and we'll look at whether we should leave businesses during the day, and then at night we transfer load to our residentials. So those are the things that we'll look into as we move along.
We also understand that part of the reasons why so much money will be spent in repairs is the part of, sabotage of your infrastructure in the inner city. Have you identified any syndicates that are behind the infrastructure that's been damaged and vandalized?
Well, unfortunately, I can't say there is a particular syndicate that we have identified. However, this thing is a syndicate by the way at which this thing is well coordinated, and the way at which when these people, they even have the guards to come back and exchange fires with our security when they see some of the damaged cables lying on the ground. It tells you that this is a serious syndicate that is happening for these ferrous and non-ferrous metals. But it's not only this kind of cables. On day-to-day basis, we deal with issues of theft and vandalism of our infrastructure. This is from our pylon lines, the small cables, the big cables. You know, this thing we are saying is the syndicate because they even go to an extent of where they damage our telecoms, communication and protection cables that are supposed to somehow see and protect our substations, our feeder boards, but they are able to damage them so that when these things are damaged, then they know that the station is vulnerable, it's not protected, and then it can cause fire, spark fire. But we are reporting all these incidences to the police like we have done on this one. The law enforcement is involved on this one. So I will say on that one, this is how far I can go, but because we understand that there is a committee that is sitting of a law enforcement to deal with these issues, they'll probably come up with a better solutions, we hope, to deal with this issue of ferrous and non-ferrous metals.
We also understand that some parts in Braamfontein have their electricity restored. Which are those areas? And also, those that don't have electricity, when can they expect to have their lights back on? As we understand that some businesses still say that they don't have electricity.
It is indeed, and we profusely apologize to our clients. It's a very much inconvenience for them. And you can imagine some of them, they've been calling to say, look, we don't know whether we should send staff home or what must happen. Give us the more info exactly what is going to happen. So in this process, we have managed, because not all was lost, we have managed to backfeed some of our clients. For example, we managed to backfeed vets, and not entirety of it. We managed to backfeed SAPI. We managed to backfeed, Tuso House in the city of Joburg somehow. But because the load, we use other circuits. At times it will trip depending on how they use electricity. And we encourage them to use electricity sparingly. They must not use all appliances because that's how we get trips from some of these areas in Braamfontein. But we are quite aware that there's a bigger portion of Braamfontein that is still out. Newtown is still out. Parktown West is still out. And this is where we are saying we want to see if we can make it on a rotational basis until we finish off this work where we bring stability to our customers.
Thank you very much for your time, Charles. Well, Stephen, Charles was taking us through the process of repairing the infrastructure that has been damaged by the underground fire that happened here, and also assuring their clients and also businesses that have been affected that they are working on the issue of electricity. As you'd understand that some people are waiting for direct communication from the power utility to say when should they expect to see lights in their businesses. We also understand that a contractor is already on site working on the issue, and the estimated time for the project to be completed, or at least for power to be restored in most parts of Johannesburg that have been affected, is about 2 weeks, as the city of Johannesburg, or rather City Power, has just mentioned. Back to you in studio.
Zola, Sholwana, thanks very much indeed. Important update there on that developing story, been developing now for several days. Still so many consequences from what I suppose was really an attack on infrastructure.